Live on WFLA Now. This is Run for Fun with running enthusiast Leigh Spann.
All right, welcome back to the WFLA Now Stream Center for this week's episode of Run for Fun. The show is meant to get people inspired to get off the couch, run or walk, and even more importantly, to love doing it. The best way to do that is to make it fun. I'm Leigh Spann. I am the meteorologist here at WFLA, but I'm also clearly a running enthusiast. I've been running now for about 12 years. I still find it super fun. So I just wanted to create this show to kind of spread that to everyone else. And we do have a very fun show today. If you've been listening or watching, you know we've been training our friend Nick to run his very first 5K. And the race is this weekend. So we're going to give him all the unspoken etiquette. He said he knows about when you go on the golf course, there's things you're supposed to do, things you're not supposed to do. So racing is very similar. Race day is similar to that. So we're going to tell him what to expect, what to eat, what to know in the last few days of training. Coach Maria is here to help with that. And then after that, we have another special guest who can definitely tell Nick what it's like to experience a race day. KellyAnn Jenkins, she's from right here in our area, just returned from running around the world. And I mean that quite literally. She ran 7 marathons in 7 days on 7 continents. The logistics of that is actually just blowing my mind. And then there's the running part of it, right? So we're going to talk about her crazy week that she had, how she prepared for it. And I really just kind of want to know logistically how it even worked to fly around the world that much. So let me remind everyone, because we continue to have our virtual running group, of course, that's on Strava. One of the things that makes me love running so much is to be part of a group. And while we can't just run with everyone in the whole world who can be possibly listening to this podcast, we can do that virtually. So we wanted to thank all the 84 runners who have joined our WFLA Run for Fun Strava group. As we've talked about before, it's a free app, Strava. And when you carry your phone with you, it can track how fast you've gone, how far you've gone, where you went. And then once you're done, you post that and other people in the group can comment or ask you questions or give you kudos. And one of our runners we just heard from on Facebook, Marielle Engel. She says that she is a runner. She loves the podcast. And she runs a 5K about 4 times a week, which is a wonderful, consistent run. So thanks to Marielle for watching. And of course, there is Nick. We're going to be checking in with him. He is on our Strava app as well. So now you kind of get an overview look of everyone here. We got Coach Maria and Nick. Nick, it was your birthday this week.
It was a great week. There was a lot of fun. It was jam-packed. I had a lot of friends that came down. I appreciate, all the boys that came down, but the body's been through it. Let's just put it that way. Beach, golf, beers, a lot of all that. A lot of all that stuff.
It is your birthday, but now this is race week now. So
exactly. You gotta buckle down, gotta focus. I'm excited. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I'm doing it with him, so I'm excited.
So
be good.
How does it make you feel that Maria is gonna be running with you?
I like that, because when I work out, I like having someone there to kind of motivate me and keep up the good pace. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be good. I think I'll definitely probably run my best that day, because Maria's going to be right there next to me.
Well, that is the goal, is to run your best on race day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's get into what to expect between now and then we'll get to race day.
So usually the week before you should be resting a little bit more, although one of the big things people do incorrectly in the taper is they taper too much and they rest too much. So we will do one workout this week. You'll do, and probably you should do it tomorrow.
Okay.
Do you have time to do it tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. Tomorrow I want you to do your normal 10-minute warm-up, and then I want you to do 6 by 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy. Okay, so you're just getting some leg turnover in. You're just trying to get your legs ready to run a little harder over the week.
Okay, so explain that one more time.
Explain this workout. Yeah, 10-minute warm-up, then 6 by 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy, and then you're going to do a 10-minute cool down.
Okay.
So it's just a short, quick. You want to think about your turnover, leg turnover.
1 minute quick, 1 minute easy, 1 minute quick, 1 minute easy.
Yep.
6 times each.
Yep.
And then do a 10-minute cool down, you said?
Yep.
So that's about 32 minutes.
It's going to be great.
Yep. So that'll be, tomorrow is Wednesday, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you should do like a little shakeout 10-minute run on Friday.
Okay.
Just so your legs aren't shocked that they're running. on Saturday.
And I was going to mention, like, maybe, like, do I want to go for, like, any, like, walks in between just to stay active or no?
You want to rest in between, but the 10-minute shakeout, you could throw in a couple just surges. That will help your legs too. Like,
Okay.
just surge for like 10 to 15 seconds and then back off. Do it 2 or 3 times and no more than 10 minutes, but then you'll be ready for Saturday. Okay.
So now let's take it through. His alarm clock goes off on Saturday morning.
What time's it going off?
Well, Friday night, I'm going to be a good boy.
Yeah,
Let me
good
know,
boy. Friday night. Go
Going
to
to be
bed early.
hydrating, get all the water I can.
Yeah.
No alcohol, nothing like that.
Yeah, let's start Friday because
That's true.
it is going to be a little warm
Okay.
on Saturday, right, Leigh? Saturday is going to be the warmer of the 2 days.
Yes, the more humid of the 2 days. Yes.
Okay, that means those of you running the 15K, it's going to be more humid, so more electrolytes, more carbohydrates.
And that the day before and during the race. Or
Yes.
just definitely the day before.
Yes. Even if you're running a 5K, you should bump your carbs up a little bit. You don't need to go crazy. But let's start with Friday. You want to take an electrolyte drink, at least like 20 ounces of an electrolyte drink. So like a Gatorade or Scratch or, something that has some electrolytes. And then for dinner, have heavier on the carbs, low on the fat. And I would not do any vegetables on Friday. Try to stay away from the vegetables, stay away from the fat.
If I were to just do, like, chicken and rice, would that be okay?
That's great.
Okay.
It's a great option.
We'll do chicken and rice.
Yeah. And then Saturday, when you get up, like 2 hours before, you want to have a pretty carb-dense breakfast. So I don't know, what do you normally eat before you run? Because you don't want to do anything different.
Because he usually does a dinner because he has
Oh, that's right,
the overnight.
Yeah. So it'll be like, I don't know, like rice or like turkey, just like something like that. Like, I'm very like simple with my dinner, like rice, turkey, rice, chicken with veggies or.
Okay. Would you have rice for breakfast?
Oh, I
on
love
Saturday morning.
I love rice. Yeah, I will do that. Yeah.
I would
Okay.
do rice with breakfast or oatmeal or something that's going to stick with you like 2 hours before.
Okay.
And then you want to take a gel 5 minutes before your race. Do you have a gel?
It's a gel.
Hold on.
Yep.
I have one.
Okay.
So, just so you
think I
know, what
have
we
one.
call they're just little packets of almost kind of like cake icing.
Oh, I
And
took it
so
out of my
there,
purse.
so there's like 100 calories of just kind of gooey sugar.
I'll make sure you have
Interesting.
one. I'll
Okay.
bring one for you.
All right.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Well, look, Maria's getting me all ready to go.
Now,
Yeah.
now I actually instead of a gel before a race, I eat the honey stingers, which is more like a stroop waffle. So
Yeah. And you could do a banana or something before, but you want to take something. We're going to warm up before the race for like 5 minutes. We're just going to jog around. Warming up is really important. If you're going to push yourself a little harder, if you're not warmed up, you won't be able to go as fast. So always warm up 5 to 10 minutes. You're going to warm up 5, and I'll warm up with you. And then we'll just start the race, and we're going to try to progressively get faster each mile.
So now let's talk about maybe the unspoken, rules that once you've done enough races, you don't even think about them anymore. So there are corrals.
Yes.
Are there in the 5K? There is a corral,
Yes,
right?
and it'll be on your bib what your corral is.
What's a corral?
Yes, exactly. So just like with cattle,
Yeah.
they put fast people in the front, and then a little bit, and then they stack you back so that the last people in the way back, because there's going to be several thousand. I'm not exactly sure what the limit was at the 5K this year, but there's usually like 14,000 people.
So a good amount of people.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think they have waves too.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it starts at 9, but
So they'll have a certain amount of people start at one wave, and then another wave will go off like 3 minutes later, and then something. They usually do it like that. So we'll just get in the right corral. I'll make sure you're in the right corral.
Okay.
We get in your corral after you're warmed up and everything, and then if you have to stand there for a little while, it's okay. In terms of etiquette, even if it's not a big race, if you are a slower runner, you should stay in the back. I know it sounds like that's not fair, but the faster runners are supposed to be on the start line. And actually, now that we have chip time, it doesn't matter as much. So
Right.
back in the day, we didn't used to have chip time. And so anybody we'd all be tried to cram into the start line because we don't have that anymore. So there's no reason to try to get closer.
Nick, do you know what she means by bib time
Bib time
or
no.
chip time?
Or chip time, no.
Yeah. So the race starts when the buzzer goes off and those first 5 people or first
Yeah.
fast people go. But your race doesn't start until your bib crosses the start line. So
Interesting.
it'll
Okay.
your chip time will start. So you'll get a race time and you'll get a chip time, so that you know how fast you went, not how long it took you to even get to the front.
So the people on the start line, this is just a fun fact. The people on the start line, the elites, they don't get that luxury.
Yeah.
Like the start time, the gun time is what they go on. So they don't get to have a chip time. So you get to have a chip time.
So it'll be on the back of your bib, and it'll say "Do not remove." It'll be like a little
Yeah.
plastic strip usually. So
And don't remove it.
don't remove it.
Okay. I will not remove it.
Because some people are like, oh, do not remove. Yes, let's do it, right? That's my mentality.
You guys attempt it.
Also, I'm going to tell you, don't wear your race shirt.
Race shirt.
Don't wear your race shirt. Like,
Oh yeah.
I'm
They're
going to
gonna-
tell you, like a few years ago, I was training my father-in-law. For his first 10K, which I think he was 70 at the time, he's always wanted to do this 10K.
There you go.
And he finally trained up for it. And he looked up online, like race etiquette before, because he was like kind of freaked out.
Yeah.
And he told me, he's like, apparently I'm not supposed to wear my T-shirt. And I was like, no, you're not. Good for you for looking that up. But yeah, you're not supposed to.
Yes.
Is it? It almost feels like, I don't know. Is it superstitious in a way? Like
Well,
you
just
don't
like-
want,
yeah.
because you didn't complete it. It's like wearing the medal as you're doing it. Like,
Yes, exactly.
You
don't
will
wanna-
see a lot of people out there in that in their race shirt.
Mm.
But
Well, then they didn't listen to this
they
podcast.
didn't listen to the
so-
podcast, or apparently Google it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it honestly
Two
just
simple things to do.
Right.
it just literally just screams rookie. Like I'm a rookie, which is fine. We love rookies. Like
Yeah.
you're a rookie. I love it.
Yeah,
But
I'm a rookie.
we don't want to look like a rookie.
Exactly.
We're gonna be a humble rookie.
Look like we've been there a few times.
Look
you
like
know?
you've been there.
Run the bases like you've done it before.
yeah,
That's all. That's it.
Exactly.
And so, all right. So, what about music while you're running the race?
Oh, that's what I was
Yep.
going to ask too.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a pet peeve for mine. Well, you're running with me, so we're not doing music.
So you're gonna
Dang it,
you're gonna
okay.
talk,
Okay.
We're gonna
or
I'll
she's
talk.
gonna
Okay,
talk
that's
to you, and
perfect.
she's gonna
As long
listen.
as I'm
I
doing
will
something.
entertain you. I
That's
promise.
Because I love listening. Cody Johnson is my running. You know Cody Johnson, country.
I do not know.
Oh, great guy. Diamond in my pocket till you can't. Great country artist.
Well, you know
But-
what? I might compromise with you on it. If you want to bring it and put it around your neck, the last mile you can wear
Oh,
it.
no, it's okay. As long as I'm talking to you. I need to
Okay.
be entertained.
Yeah.
I need to have something in my ear to keep
Yeah,
me
yeah.
distracted from.
My thing with the headphones is that, especially in a crowded race, everybody wears them, and then you can't hear people coming from behind you, and
Yeah.
that annoys the ever-loving out of me. So,
Yeah.
like,
No,
if you're going to wear headphones in a race, I know a lot of people do, keep them down so you can hear people coming behind you, because it's dangerous. Or stay to one side of the road so people can go around you. But when it's super crowded, like it will be super crowded. And you don't want to weave. So we want to pick a side of the road and try to stay as straight, because every time you're weaving, you're adding distance. So you don't want to do that.
and just stick with it. And the headphone thing
Yeah.
too. Yesterday, some biker almost drilled me because I'm running,
Aha.
go to turn, and
Yeah.
he
You
yelled
can't
at me a
hear
little bit. I'm like, oh, sorry.
Yeah. Also, I would probably wear some kind of visor or sunglasses, because it's going to be Bayshore is sunny.
I don't have is a hat okay?
Yeah, hat's great. It will just keep the sun out of your eyes and keep it off your head. When it's humid, you need to be careful with sunscreen, because it actually can make things worse. So you want to cover up more, but still wear really light layers, because it's going to be warm.
And do you have some sort of moisture wicking shirt? Do you know what that means? Like
Just
not cotton.
like Under Armour shirts.
Yeah, like something
Yeah,
that's not
perfect.
cotton. Yes.
Cotton
I
is
actually
wrong.
do.
Okay, good.
And
So
Smell actually got me it.
Oh,
It says the world's this is the world's okayest pickleball player.
perfect.
I don't know if I trust Schmo's judgment.
Schmo
on things
didn't
right
come
now,
to the
'cause
run.
I
Schmo
know,
didn't
I
run
know.
when he was supposed to. But
Because I'm the greatest, so he was just trying to tease me. So I
okay,
had
that's
to,
fair. That's
show
fair.
him who's the real boss on the pickleball court.
yeah, that's right. They have shirts that say "World's
Okay.
okayest runner" too, and it's,
Yeah. Oh,
it's
really?
good, yeah.
And I am an okay runner. That I am
okay.
just fine with being an okay runner.
Okay,
One
got
more
the
thing
job
I want to talk about is the water stops.
Yes.
Because if you've never tried to run and drink water before, it is not easy. It will go up your nose. It'll get in
Yeah.
your eyes. So I have taken the approach, and I don't know how everybody does it a little different. I squeeze the cup to where there's just a little spout. Because if you try to drink like this, it literally goes all over you. So you squeeze the cup until there's just like a little spout, and then you can drink some.
Yeah,
You don't need to gulp it.
Yeah, and the best way to do it is when you see somebody go by that is carrying water, look them in the eye.
They'll be
Just
standing
look them
there.
right in.
Yes,
They'll be
yeah.
standing there and they'll have it there. But if you look them in the eye, they know that's going to you. And so then you grab it, squeeze it,
Grab
know.
it, squeeze it, put it in. Oh, like,
and
okay,
you just
yeah.
you just need a couple of sips. You don't need anything crazy.
Perfect.
And then there
Yeah.
will be trash cans.
Now here's the thing: do I absolutely like need to well? Let's just say I'm hydrated. I do fine. If I don't feel like doing that, like making that
Nope.
stop.
In a
or
5K, you do not need to get
Yeah.
water. In a 15K, you need to get water.
Yes. No, yeah.
Anything
So,
more
yeah,
than a 5K. you
Anything more than a
definitely-
5K, but in a 5K, you really don't need it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice when it's hot out. Sometimes it's nice to throw it on yourself and cool yourself off. Like 9 o'clock on Bayshore is probably going to be pretty hot. Might be, if your mouth is dry, you can swish it around in there or whatever, but you don't need it as long as you're hydrated ahead of time. You're okay.
And you will probably pass by the Rough Riders at the turnaround with donuts.
Oh, I didn't know
What?
that.
So the Rough Riders, who is like a crew in the area,
Okay.
a lot of times during the 5K, they are right at the turnaround point with boxes of donuts.
Wow, cool.
So if you pass by,
If we're feeling good, we'll get a donut.
I
I
think
just
they,
think
I'm
that's the
not
last
opposed
thing
to
I
it.
need during a run. I mean, but hey, I mean, you know,
Just a bite.
Just
It's
a
not
bite.
a bad. It's
Just
not
a
a
not
bad.
bad. I've actually during a race, they've given out donut holes before, and I was able
Oh,
to
yeah.
use that.
Was that
for,
Shamrock? Or
No,
we
it was
were just doing
actually
that?
it was in St. Petersburg, but I can't remember which one it was in St. Pete. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, while we're talking about putting things in your mouth, when you're racing, if your stomach gets bad, which a lot of times when it's hot, your stomach gets bad because you're dehydrated. People think, oh, it's I didn't do something right, but really it's just hot and you're dehydrated, and the blood going to your stomach can't process the food. So if you swish a carbohydrate drink in your mouth, if you switch it around, it actually goes into your bloodstream. So you don't have to make it worse.
Oh, I didn't know.
It's a little trick.
Because it is going to be a little bit on the humid side, but so you've been running at night, right, without the sun. So the sun makes
the one that I did yesterday
okay
was during I think it was like 10 o'clock
at night
in the
in
morning.
the morning. Okay,
Yeah, it was pretty
That's
hot.
so you were
pretty
pretty
hot.
close. That was pretty close
Yeah.
to how it may be a little more humid on Saturday, but being
It's
in the
going to
sun
be
is
humid
very,
all week, right?
Yes.
So yeah.
It doesn't.
It was definitely really that was the hottest I think I've ever.
Well, this
Right,
morning
like-
the dew point was 65, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. So it'll
Yeah,
be
it was
it'll
65,
be
66. So
be pretty close to what it was today, which for those of you that are racing this weekend and doing Gasparilla, it feels cold when you start. So you think to yourself, I don't need to do anything to change this. But the reality is you do. You need to go about 20 to 30 seconds per mile slower in those conditions. So to run your best race.
so that you don't start out at your normal speed and then bonk, and the
Yeah.
last mile being so slow and so painful. So
And there's this thing that runners have that a lot of runners are stubborn, but this is my favorite thing because they think, well, they don't take the weather into consideration because that makes them weak. But I'm like, we take the terrain into consideration. So why would you not take the weather into consideration? The goal would be, in my opinion, to run the best race, the fastest race that you can run that day, which means if you pace it properly for the weather, you're going to run faster than if you go out your normal hard and bonk. So we're going to adjust it that first mile a little bit. I'm going to look at your runs and I'm going to, part of the reason I want to run with you is so I can tell how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And if you're talking to me, I know we're good. If you're not talking to me, we're going a little too fast that first mile. So, but you won't be talking to me the last mile.
Okay.
and then you get your race. You go through the finish line. There's a whole chute of people like screaming on each side. There's a big banner, and then you.
Just like this.
Yep,
right?
and then you go and you get your medal.
And don't stop.
Don't stop.
Okay.
Don't stop.
Keep running.
Walking. Keep
Or
walking.
walking. Okay, good.
And after the race, walk a little bit. It's
Okay.
going to help you with the soreness. It helps get everything, all the lactic acid flushed out. It's much better to walk. Don't just stand there or go sit somewhere because that's going to hurt really badly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and then,
good.
And then there's a party. The Gasparilla Distance Classic does have a post-race party.
Okay.
It's further from the finish line.
It's
right?
actually closer to the finish line. It used to be out at Coat and Shelby Park, but now
it's
it is
closer.
like, I think they call it like McDill Park. I don't know what it's called, but it's sort of underneath, at least it was last year, underneath the Selman in
okay.
downtown. There's like a whole area there.
Is that the same for the half too?
Well, at least that's where the half, I don't know about. I think
Okay.
that's where both of them are. But anyway, there's a little area that you can go to. So go there, meet up with your friends, tell you,
Make
all
sure
that
you
good
get something to eat after the race. Make sure you replenish your water and stuff like that.
Exactly. Okay.
Now, any other questions about Saturday?
No. So after we're gonna have fun, do our thing. We're gonna go for the run. That's really it. And then what? Just keep it up. Just keep running. And
Then you're just going to keep running for fun because
Yeah.
you love it so
Just
much.
keep running for
right,
fun.
Nick?
well, actually, after this 3K, I think what I'm gonna do is I already booked 7 trips, and they're on each continent.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna run 7 marathons, and it's gonna be great. So this is just the warm up
just
for
the
that.
warm up.
That's all it is.
If we could only
So,
be cool like
yeah.
KellyAnn.
Oh man, cannot wait to hear about that. So, all right. Well, Nick, did we get you ready for race day? Do you think?
I'm
We've
excited. Yeah,
given
I
you-
really appreciate everything you guys have done up to this moment. Slacked off a little bit last week,
I'm
but hey,
kind of
what can
sad
you
this
do?
is our last day with
I
you,
know.
right?
We'll come back. He'll come back next week to talk about the race.
Okay.
Yeah,
At least
yeah.
we'll at least get one more week.
One more week
with
yeah.
Nick.
And then after that, I guess I'm just on my own. I'm a lone shark. So.
Yeah.
No,
But
we'll
it'll be
figure
good, though.
something out on Strava.
Well,
yeah.
I'll still be running with you guys on Strava. I'll still be giving kudoses and all that stuff. So it'll be good. But it's been a good experience here, and I really appreciate Leigh, giving me the opportunity to come on here and run for fun.
Yeah.
So
Well, Nick, you've been a wonderful sport.
it's
Yeah.
been,
Considering I don't know if you when we first brought Nick on, I explained this, but he is in my ear during the newscast. Like I have an earpiece with my producer, and I was like, "Hey, Nick, you want to run a 5K?" And he said, "Sure." Okay, good. He thought I meant I was just going to have him go run a 5K, right?
yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
I'm like, no. We're talking 6-8 weeks of training. He's like, oh. So he agreed and had no idea what he was getting himself into. But I think that it's been an enjoyable experience.
It has been.
It's
Yeah.
a new sport. You've never really done anything like. I mean, he's played plenty of sports, but this is a new one that you didn't really even know much about.
I didn't know much about it at all, and it actually has been more enjoyable. So talking to my one friend too, who came over the weekend, he likes to run a lot, and he lives in New York City. He watches the podcast too. He's like, I think he's gonna join Strava. I taught
Yay,
him how to
join
do it.
Strava.
Excellent.
So he's like, I'm proud of you. I'm happy. So if I'm ever back home, and if over the holidays, he said he wants to go for a run. So
Oh, that's awesome.
Jimmy
All right.
Callahan, you're the man. But yeah.
And
so.
it is one. This is a great way to have spend time with friends as you don't have to run a race every time. You just have to get out and enjoy, have fun.
Yeah, it's
on
really
your
enjoy
run.
the scenery too. Enjoy the beautiful.
You'll see more of wherever you're at.
You
if
most
you're
certainly,
running. You
most
see it
certainly
from
will.
a very different perspective.
All right, Nick,
Well, it's
we'll
been
let you go
good.
to bed.
Yeah, I'm exhausted.
Yes,
So
I know you are.
I'm gonna go get ready for race week. This is it, or race day.
All
Yeah,
right,
right.
I'll put it on Strava
So-
in case you forget.
Yes, no, I actually
And-
Strava.
And you can it's going to be very keep in mind that on race day there's a couple of thousand people also trying to go to those same areas. You got to pick up your race packet on Friday from the convention center. I forgot to put, so you got to pick up your race packet. 'Cause,
Okay.
I think I can't remember if I put your email or my email, but I'll get you to the race packet. It opens at 10 on Friday, and it gives you your bib, your shirt. You can pick up a whole bunch of freebies from the expo.
I'll be there from 11 to 4 at the St. Pete Running Company tent. So you should come say hi to me and Cody.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Cody and
sounds
me.
great.
Cody and me. Sorry, Mom. Mom's watching.
Cody and me.
Cody and me.
that'll
I'm
be-
sorry.
So that'll be great. And then just like parking, I guess I don't know. We'll figure that out.
I usually park it here at the TV station.
Oh,
But-
perfect.
Wait a second. It's Cody and I.
No, it's Cody and me. You're right.
I was right.
Yes. I is in the I is a subject.
I will be there though.
Yeah.
Cody and I.
Cody and I will be there. Yes.
But I said Cody and me, so it should be Cody and I.
Oh, okay, yes.
Sorry,
It should be
sorry, Mom.
It should be Cody and I. Use me in the predicate.
That's
I in the subject line.
right. I fixed
Running
it.
for fun, and you get a
And-
little language arts lesson. There we go.
Small amount of grammar. All right, Nick. So we will get. So yeah, I park at the TV station. It's about a half-mile walk or so. So
Perfect.
all right.
Well, guys, I'm really excited. I'll see you tomorrow, and I will see you Friday.
Yeah, come see me at the
Cody.
expo.
Yeah.
All right.
It'll be
Thanks,
good.
Nick.
All right, KellyAnn, I can't wait to hear your story.
All
It's
right,
gonna be great.
KellyAnn's going to jump in. I'm going to. Well, that's been really fun to train with Nick. He's been so willing to do all the things.
I'm going to be sad to not use these. That'll help. It's been fun. He's been really a good sport about it.
He has been a very good sport at this new sport that he's been learning.
And it's tough to like do it in front of everybody and
he's got friends all over the country watching him, so he can't not do it. And so he will be he will enjoy that 5K.
Sorry, I should have done that for you.
She's getting that
just plug it on the side.
There you go. I'll show everybody what's going on. So KellyAnn has joined us, and now she's trying to get all plugged in. And trying to think now that is there anything else people need to know? I know since the Gasparilla Distance Classic is one of the biggest races.
One of the biggest,
certainly.
I think the biggest 15K or the oldest 15K is Gate River Run.
But just in our area, I mean, with the fact that there's 4 races, if you don't know, there's 4 races for Gasparilla Distance Classic on Saturday. There's a 15K, which is 9.4 miles, 3 miles.
Yeah,
9.3 miles. And there's a 5K, 3.1 miles. And then the next day is a half marathon, which is 13.1 miles. And there's also an 8K, which is basically 5 miles. And you can do any one of those or a series of multiple type ones. So a lot of
I'm doing all of them. So.
You are. Did you sign up as the challenge, or did you just sign up? I think you signed up sort of individually, didn't you?
No, I did actually do the challenge.
Okay.
I did the challenge. I think it was KellyAnn. KellyAnn kind of made me.
I inspired her.
Yeah, she inspired me to do some stupid things.
All right, so let's bring in KellyAnn, and who somehow is smiling after what I consider to be one of the most amazing and logistically crazy things that has. How did you even hear about what is called the World Marathon Challenge?
Yeah, I first heard about it on a podcast. It was probably 2017, and a friend of mine found it, and he was just really excited about it. He said it sounded like something crazy that I would do.
Yeah. That's a good friend.
Yeah, and I've been following the runners ever since. I've been kind of watching them on social media, and so it's just something I've been interested in doing for a while.
Well, Maria, how did you train her for this?
Well, I mean, most of it was a little bit challenging because they changed the date. How many times did they change the date?
4 times.
Yeah, 4 times. So we kept training, getting pretty close, and then they changed the date. So the biggest obstacle for us was to keep her injury-free because it ended up being like 2.5 years of training. But overall, in training somebody who's doing something like this, it's pretty similar to like Ironman training. You're just getting somebody in the best shape of their life that they can get in. And it's less about the distance and more about running every day consistently in the right aerobic zones.
Okay, so let's talk. So let's start with why you decided to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm interested in that.
Yes.
I don't
why?
know
I mean, I applaud it, but why?
I think for me, it was during 2020 when everything had shut down, and I was sitting around the house. I was reading a book about Colin O'Brady's journey and how he was the first person to solo cross Antarctica. And I finished his book, and I just thought, I really need a challenge in my life right now.
That's a pretty big challenge.
Well, I wasn't ready to solo cross Antarctica.
Yeah. But you kind of did.
But eventually. I went a little distance on Antarctica. But I figured at that time, I had some time to train, and I reached out to the race director just to find out more about the event, and kind of went from there.
And so every year they do this, right? They until COVID hit and all the craziness. Right. But and so they just gather up people from around the world and fly them around.
Pretty much. There were 52 of us from 16 different countries who were running the race. We all met in Cape Town and started from there.
And you were in Cape Town for kind of a while. You had to adjust a little bit.
Yeah, I got there a week early, a little bit of vacation to spend some time adjusting. I figured the jet lag was going to be a challenge, and once we got started, time was really irrelevant.
Yeah, right.
So
Did most people stay a week before?
No.
No.
A lot of people got there just a day or two before.
Okay. Ooh, ouch.
Yeah.
So I'm changing all of the things at the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to say running around the world.
Yeah.
So because I don't want you to, it was still saying what to know about race day. So now we're running around the world. Okay, so now I got all the logistics stuff done. So talk to me about the strain on your body during that week.
It honestly wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I think Maria had me completely prepared for the event, which was absolutely amazing. And having been training for 2.5 years, I was really ready to get it done. But once we started running, I think Antarctica was by far the hardest race. Just getting that out of the way, weather-wise, conditions, running on that ice and snow, all of it was pretty challenging. After that, any marathon seemed easy in comparison.
So talk to me about what the temperature was, what the wind was, because as a meteorologist, I was fascinated by that.
Yeah, so what they told us, basically we did a briefing the day before heading into Antarctica, and they told us, don't even bother checking the weather. It's not accurate. It's going to change rapidly.
Wow.
And it did.
And it did.
Like, someone happened to look, and it looked like it might be 36 degrees as a high, maybe a low of 26 degrees.
Which isn't terrible.
No, a beautiful running weather, actually. By the time we got there, I think it was -25.
Oh, God. Actual temperature?
-20. Oh. -25. And then we had wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour. They were sustained between 25 and 33 miles an hour most of the time. So
That's crazy.
And so how did you run into that? I mean, how did you face that? I know you were wearing like ski goggles.
Ski goggles, multiple layers of clothing, basically as if you were going skiing. The race director changed the course when we got there because the weather was so bad. He wanted to keep us all close. So we started with, instead of doing a loop, we ended up doing an out and back, and he shortened it. So it was 10 out and backs. Challenge with that, we had a tailwind on the way out and then headwind on the way back. And
it's brutal.
The headwind was pretty brutal. Most of us, especially those last few laps, were just walking, and I would say walking was a 10 out of 10 for effort.
Wow. And that was into the wind.
Into the wind.
And then pushing you, when you're going the other direction.
Right.
And so and again, that seems really terrible and hard, and I got it all. What seems to me that's even more fascinating is then you get on a plane and then you go to South Africa. Right. And so you were running in -20-degree weather, and all of a sudden you're in a tank top, like within hours.
Right. 12 hours later, we're running in 80 upper 80s. Yeah.
And so I want to know what it was like on the plane. Like, what are y'all talking about? Are you getting massages? Are you eating? Tell me about that plane ride from Antarctica to Cape Town.
Antarctica to Cape Town was a little different because we had a different plane. So it's an old Russian military cargo style plane.
Oh, cool.
So it was super cool. There were no windows though. So you're sitting in this plane where it's pretty cramped. A lot of people were sleeping. At this point, my adrenaline was pretty high. So on the way from Antarctica to Cape Town, I was wide awake. I spent the time journaling, trying to remember how bad Antarctica was, because my brain had already flipped from that was so hard to that was amazing. I can't wait to do it again in a matter of an hour.
As soon as you got that medal, like, all of a sudden, this wasn't so bad at all.
As soon as I changed and was warm again.
Yeah.
So you landed in Cape Town, correctly?
Yes.
You go back to Cape Town from Novo. And so when you run that, so tell me about that marathon. So what was that? What was the terrain like there? So very different, clearly.
Completely different. Cape Town was flat. We ran along the waterfront area. It was, again, maybe upper 80s, sunny. We started at 10 a.m., so it was pretty warm, midday, lots of sun. Most of us ended up getting a little sunburn. Even coming from Florida, I stopped every loop to reapply sunscreen, but it still got me.
And it was dry heat, super dry heat that day, right?
No, that was Australia, which
Australia,
was even
right,
hotter.
Right. Yeah, right.
But
because there is a big difference between the humidity and the dry heat. And she did 2 marathons. One was humid. Well, 2 were humid.
2 were humid. Brazil was very, very humid.
Yeah.
Yes. When you were posting about the conditions in Brazil, the meteorologist brain in me just could barely understand how you could run a full marathon in that. So I do want to let people know. So these are not like they weren't marathons that already existed. These were just, this marathon it's a challenge where they create it and they can really make whatever path they want. It's not like you're running through these streets.
Right. It was just our group that had created these marathons, and the race director works with local race directors in each city, on each continent. And so they had everything prepared for us. We had a start-finish line. They had aid stations set up.
So cool.
So, yeah.
And one of the reasons is because flying, you might have to be delayed. You can't possibly, I mean, you might not be able to say, we're going to start this race at this time because, you know, for whatever reason, and that happened to you guys.
It happened pretty much the entire trip. I have to give credit to the race director, Richard Donovan. He is a complete mastermind, and he really got it done for us. He told us at the initial race briefing, he said the first thing out of his mouth was, this is the point where you surrender all control. All you have to think about is running. And that's really what I tried to do, because logistically it was one issue after another, and he just handled it and told us where we needed to be and what we needed to be doing, and we just had to prepare to run.
That's incredible, because a lot of runners are type A people. So to relinquish control like that, and going into this, like, KellyAnn is a very good athlete.
Yes.
But I think, like, her strong point is that she doesn't let things bother her. And when we went in, she was very good at running by feel. And so I didn't, like, if we had a specific pace and a specific plan for her every single race, it would have been detrimental to her overall completing the task, because you can't get caught up in those little, like, logistical things when you're doing something like this. You have to just roll with it. And probably 99.9% of my runners couldn't do that. She really just, like, has to relinquish everything and just say, I'm going to listen to how my body feels this day, and I'm going to run what I can.
And I think that's the biggest thing I learned through training for this and through the challenge itself was you can't get so bogged down in the details and worry about perfection, because you just won't get it done. But if you're able to relinquish control, it turns out to be a beautiful thing. Like, the entire race, everything about it, I enjoyed 90% of it. It was maybe 10% and went to a little dark place in my head, but I loved it.
And did you find that was the case with the rest of the, how many did you say, 50-something people that were there?
The majority of our group, again, all type A.
Yeah.
Anyone who signs up for an adventure like this is, but everyone was pretty much able to relinquish control and just go along with it. We had so much fun too.
Yeah.
I just really had fun.
Because you kept some updates on social media. I was stressed out. Like when you couldn't get when you couldn't get your bags and you couldn't get your passport stamped. Like, I'm sweating. I go, how is she doing this? And then knowing that you still have to run many, many miles.
You want to know what would have stressed you even more?
Oh no.
She left her charger at home.
For my
She
Coros.
did not have her watch charger with her.
I had
I'm actually
no heart rate data.
Had no doubt. I mean, I was like,
And apparently they don't have Coros chargers in South Africa. Well, they do in South Africa, but the closest one was several hundred miles away. So that wasn't happening.
yeah.
I feel like you could have gotten it at Amazon.
I
didn't there?
tried. It was going to get there the day after the race started.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
So, other than not knowing your heart rate, did anything? Were you able to borrow a watch for stuff? I feel like there might have been somebody with extra watches.
People had extra watches, but I decided that it really wasn't that important, and I was there to get the race done and to have some fun, so I didn't worry about it. I did download Strava finally. I joined the Strava group.
Oh, yay.
So I downloaded Strava. I turned my phone on and put it in my pocket, and I tried not to look at it during the races. It was more just for me to track that I was running on every continent and to say I did it.
Well, and she did a lot of that in training. Like, we would have a race, and I'd say, if it was a warmer race, I'd say, I want you to run this marathon pace feel. Or, you know, she really, and actually I had a runner this morning she texted me last night. She's like, you're killing me with all this feel stuff. I don't know what moderate pace feels like. And I'm like, this is what makes running fun, when you can actually listen to your body. And she did it so much in training that it came natural for her. And I think.
And that's the thing, too, with you talk about the strain on your body, because I went into it with most of my runs being an easy feel during this challenge. I'm looking at my Whoop data, and it would have me at about a 17 strain, whereas you could have a 20 strain racing a marathon. So it was definitely, I mean, I wasn't putting as much strain on my body. My body was recovering. I was sleeping on the plane, melatonin, eye mask, and I was out.
Well, that was my
and they
that was
had
my
blow-up
question.
mattresses.
Yeah,
like, tell them about the blow-up
so I want to know what that plane was like and how it smelled.
Oh gosh, that's what I asked her too. How did it smell?
We might not want to talk about how it smelled, because there was a stomach bug that was going around the group, which, again, making things challenging. If you have a stomach bug, forget nutrition is out the window. I would I was drinking Coca-Cola, and that was about the extent of the carbs I was getting into my system. Oh. But yeah, so the way the plane was set up, it was a charter plane, so it was just our group on it. It had business class seats that were completely lie flat, and then there was an area of premium economy and then economy in the back. And so we would just rotate. The race director would just rotate us through after each race so that everyone kind of rotated through business class, premium economy, and economy. I honestly slept just as well in any spot. In economy, what we were doing is we'd have an entire row to ourselves, and the race director gave us blow-up mattresses that they folded up right into our bags into just a foot pump, and we'd blow up the mattress and sleep on the floor in between the seats.
So, did you get massages? Like, how were you recovering while flying, which also can make
dehydrate
you. Like, how were you recovering in that short period of time?
For me, it was a lot of electrolytes. We all had different type of massage guns, Theraguns, the people with the Normatec boots on the plane. That was pretty much the extent of it. My
a coworker, Amanda, every morning I would tell her where you were, what you were doing, and she was like, she said, I watched you hobble around here after your marathon for like a week. How is she doing this? And I was like, yeah, that's why I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
I think the answer is that it's so mental. Once you've trained for it, you're physically ready, you're in really good shape. At a certain point, especially if you're doing your easy runs, you know that you can just keep moving. And I mean, I think even over the first few days, my runs kept getting faster and faster.
They did. And it was crazy. And so because that's what I know toward the end, you were doing multiple runs a day sometimes, so that you were really already sort of getting your muscles used to, hey, this is going to be a tough couple of days.
We did. And because we did get some delays, and it really challenged us to get to that finish line in Miami. I think the last 3 runs ended up being in about 36 hours. We just had them back to back with minimal recovery time. But at that point, you could see the light at the end of the tunnel. And so
it's a very, very long tunnel.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we started in Antarctica. We jumped over to Africa, Cape Town, and then you went to Perth. Then you went to Australia. So tell me about that.
When we landed in Australia, it was 96 degrees. Gosh. And we just had to start running. Thankfully, it was a dry heat, which a lot better than running in the humidity for me. I can handle the dry heat, but I do not like the humid conditions.
Did your lips get chapped?
I was really thirsty constantly. Yeah. That was the challenge. No matter how much water I took, how many electrolytes, I was just always thirsty. But physically, I felt fine.
So I forgot I had these pictures up. So there's your right after your Antarctica one. You're about to get on the plane and
I was so ready to get on.
Get the heck out of there. And that's the Soviet era plane that you were talking about.
Yeah.
And then the next one, is this? I just grabbed a couple of pictures.
This is Cape Town.
So that's Cape Town. So you went from literal ski gear to tank top. Yeah. And I noticed that in a lot of these pictures, you were smiling. So you were enjoying it.
She smiled a ton.
I had a great time. I really did. And the entire race crew that was out there was incredible. The photographers were great. I mean, all the runners who ran with me. I mean,
what a cool experience.
Yeah.
So jumped over to Perth. I know that I forgot I'd show those pictures. So Perth was a dry heat. You jumped on that, and then you went to
Dubai
for Asia.
Yeah, Dubai weather was absolutely gorgeous, so that made it fairly easy.
What was Dubai like?
Yeah.
We weren't there all that long. So we ran along the boardwalk down by the beach, and it was really crowded when we got there. So again, the course was shortened just to kind of keep us out of the way of everyone else and to keep us safe. But yeah, it was a beautiful course, and Dubai was really cool. I mean, driving down the street and you'll see Lamborghini, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Maserati, Ferrari parked right next to each other.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so what people also need to know is that there is a time crunch. The part of this challenge is to get it done in 7 days. So that's why she's saying so that you have to literally finish the marathon, jump on a plane, and try to get to logistically be able to fly somewhere and get off that plane. And still get it done in 7 full days.
Did they have a time limit or anything? Did they say beforehand, like, you can't?
Each race was essentially 8 hours. As long as we were on time, the race director would stay a little longer, but our timing was thrown out the window immediately. We ended up starting Antarctica 8 hours early because of weather. So we checked in, did our race briefing, went about our day, and then got an email a couple hours later, pack your stuff, we're flying to Antarctica tonight. And then when we got to Cape Town, we got grounded because our plane couldn't get into Cape Town. So we ended up spending an extra day in Cape Town. So now we lost 8 hours on the front end in Antarctica and another 24 hours in Cape Town. And so everything from that point on was go, 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 go. I think in Brazil, the race director started pulling people on the course around 4.5 hours.
Oh,
Okay.
that is a. So Dubai, and then it was Madrid.
Madrid.
So Madrid was a fun one.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, Madrid, again, because we were delayed logistical issues. We were supposed to run on a Formula One racetrack in Madrid, and we ended up in a small town called Torre Laguna, which ended up being a 33-lap course. So
So 26 miles done
33 laps.
33 times. So less than a mile in a circle.
Right. And it was hilly, up and down, up and down.
And you knew when they
around.
were, I mean, that's rough when you know it's coming too. Here we go. Wow.
And were they close to the plane? Is that the reason why they would change it? So it's like we don't have time to travel far. We're going to do it right here, like basically right out of the airport.
We tried that. I think with Madrid, it was just the town was really excited to host us. They had the logistical ability to do that in the middle of the day with 12 hours notice.
And she said people came out and ran with them. Like
They did.
Locals.
Yeah,
So cool.
The kids would come out and run and cheer for us, and so that was actually probably my favorite race.
It looked fun. And then so next was
Brazil.
So now you're back across the back into the Americas.
Right.
But it's ridiculously humid.
It's ridiculously humid. We're rushed for time. We land in Brazil with the plan that our bags are going to stay on the plane and we're not going to pick up our luggage. We get through immigration. We're getting ready to board the bus, and the immigration agent comes out to find the whole group and says we have to go back in to get our bags. Oh, no. Which then they took another 45 minutes to get off the plane. So we were supposed to start running in Madrid at 3:30 in the morning. Brazil at 3:30 in the morning. By the time we actually got out there, it was 6 a.m. So the sun was already up, and here we were, peak summer.
It was like 76 dew
In
point,
Brazil,
didn't you say?
the dew point I think was 76 when we started.
So
That's horrendous.
For those
That's
who
like the worst dew point to run a marathon in.
Yeah, so for those of us who live in the Tampa Bay area, that is sort of our crux of our summer. Like those days when you walk outside and it feels like the air is just a wet blanket, that's what that is. And it hurts to even walk to the car. Well, KellyAnn ran her 6th marathon in 6 days. So, so what did you do? How did you prepare for that mentally and then actually physically? How did you do that?
Running here, I was really used to that. I knew what I was getting myself into. I figured, one, I was going to slow my pace. The other thing is, if I had to walk, I was going to take that opportunity to walk, knowing that it was race number 6, and then all I had to do was get through Miami. The problem was because now we were crunched for time. There really wasn't any walking.
You didn't want to get pulled.
You didn't want to get pulled. Like, we had to really push to get Brazil done. I finished, got my medal. The race director says to me, "You have 10 minutes. The bus is leaving. You don't have time for a shower." So there were no showers after Brazil.
Get back on the plane? Oh, that's that smell. I hurt.
I changed clothes.
After 76 dew point, oh my gosh, I'm dying.
Yeah.
That's number one reason why Maria would not be doing this.
That is not the number one reason. The number one reason is that I physically couldn't do this.
Oh, yeah, you can physically train for anything, but the smell you can't train for.
And then you get to do the celebration in Miami.
Right.
And so, so talk about that. You still had to finish that within the 7 days. So there was a time limit still.
Right. So getting to Miami, again, we were rushed off the bus, but everyone was really excited to be home. As we pulled up to the start line in Miami, you saw people out there with glow sticks. It was almost midnight. People were out there with glow sticks, like yelling, screaming, awesome. Friends, family, and the group of us, people from all over the world who had come to see their family members, their friends finish. But we got off the bus and the race director said, 2 minutes to start time. So it's overwhelming, right? Yeah. You're trying to say hi to your family and friends. My sister came, and I was actually running to raise money for MS patients. My sister was diagnosed with MS, and she was there at the finish line to cheer me on as a surprise. And definitely an emotional experience.
Yes.
But everything was overwhelming. The race director said, you have 2 minutes to go. He starts the race. I take the first few steps, and I look to the left of me, and 2 of my good friends were running next to me.
Oh, so
And
awesome.
they pretty much said, we're going to run this lap with you. And then every lap, my friends took turns jumping in, and I was never alone that entire
that's so
marathon, which was amazing. We started about 2 minutes before midnight, so finished after 4 a.m. running on South Beach. But having the team with me and all my
I
friends,
bet you saw
family.
some pretty crazy things at South Beach from 12 to 4, no?
Well, not really where we were, but
Yeah.
the clubs were across the street.
I know, I was going to say, well, I wonder what you saw coming out of clubs on South Beach.
They were thinking the same thing. What am I seeing?
Yeah.
What is this? So,
Did I drink too much? Why are all these people running?
so all your group that was with you, let's get back to that picture here. They're not all from America. So like you said, if their family came, like, where were some of these people from? All over.
All over the place, really. Ireland, Turkey, someone from the Cayman Islands.
Cool.
Yeah.
We're majority
China,
majority
Singapore.
from America? Majority?
The majority were
Yeah.
from America.
Was there anyone who couldn't speak English? Was there some?
Everyone seemed to speak English really well.
Okay. And then, of course, this picture here, I think that's the end, right? The one of you.
Oh, that one of me, that is the end.
That is the
Yeah,
end.
That
end.
was
7
That's a great picture.
marathons in 7 days on 7 continents. Again, like you said, I guess you can train for anything, but logistically, it just blows my mind.
Yeah, and her mental game. Her mental game was so good going in. It was impressive. Just to be able to fly like that on the seat of your pants. Like, there's just not very many people that can do it. The mental game is really what I think is the biggest challenge.
I think before I started training for this, old me could not have done that, to be able to just relinquish control. That was a big part of the training. It's been a big focus for me in my life, and it was definitely a life-changing experience.
So what is your background? Because you were more than, I mean, you did a lot more than just run. Like most people are just runners, but you were doing a bunch of sports.
So my background was I was a swimmer mostly. And then swimming, softball. I started doing triathlons in about 2010. So
She's been an athlete a long time.
Yes.
But she's been really focusing on her run the past 2.5 years, and she's gotten really strong.
pretty much all I've been doing
Yeah.
the last 2.5
Well,
years.
you did a lot of strength work too, which
Oh,
I think
I
think the strength work is very important too for something like this. But my biggest question is, what was your favorite moment of the whole trip?
Oh, that's a big question.
I always love to know.
The favorite moment had to be finishing in Miami with my sister there, with my friends there. Just that feeling of the whole race itself, knowing that I've been training for 2.5 years for this, and that it was happening no matter what at this point. Like,
Yeah.
I was finishing, and then to have everyone with me, it felt absolutely incredible.
I mean,
And how much did you raise? Oh, like total?
So I ended up raising about $30,000, and the money continues to come in. So I still don't know, but it's
and
been
tell people
amazing.
how they
Yeah.
can donate if they've made it, if they're still listening.
Yeah, I would love that. So it's called the Foundation for When MS Happens, and you can find us online at mshappens.org, and you can donate straight through the website.
And now that's especially close to your heart now. So we
Yes.
hope your sister continues to do very well.
Yeah.
And so let me be the pessimistic part. What was the 10% that you didn't like?
Antarctica was
I already kind of knew that, I think.
the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I don't recommend it.
0 stars.
0 stars.
Negative stars? Can we give it negative stars?
Yes.
The race director had said to us during the race briefing that there would be a point where we were in a dark headspace. It was difficult and challenging and everything hurt. And just to think that no one was ever upset that they did it and pretty much everyone would finish it. I did not expect that moment to happen 10 miles in on marathon number 1, which is when it happened.
Aren't you glad you did that one first, though?
I'm so glad it was first.
Yeah.
The entire time I was in my head, and I just kept saying to myself, anytime I'd get these negative thoughts, I would say, you're in Antarctica, look around. You get to do this. You chose to do this.
You paid money to do this.
You want to do this. You can get through this. And then I'm not sure whether it was a good thing or not. It was so quiet out there. And I didn't have any music with me in Antarctica. But Miley Cyrus' song Flowers was in my head on repeat the entire time. I could not get it out of my head.
Now, do you know the whole song? Because my issue is when that happens, I might know like 3 lines of a song, and that replays over and over in my brain.
I think the song had only come out that week, so I'm pretty sure it was just replaying the same parts over and over.
The same TikTok that keeps going over and over. I can buy myself flowers.
Yep, exactly.
Did you have music after that? Did you decide like, you know what, my music is in for, I'm a music person.
I did. I had about 30 hours of a playlist on, and people could donate too and pick a song
Oh, that's fun.
for my
that's cool.
playlist. So I had some interesting and fun stuff on there. And it was cool because when the songs came on, it made me think of that person.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So then I was
That's
like,
a great idea.
Yeah, I'm out here running, so-and-so supporting me. And it was a nice reminder that everyone back home was following the journey and to keep going.
You don't know how many of us were following that
Oh
journey.
my gosh, so many people. When you were doing that, because I would imagine my brain, if Antarctica was first, my brain would have been like, oh no, like, is this going to be like this for every race? Did you ever go to that place? Or
I went right there.
Okay, I was going to say, because like, oh no, this is going to be harder than I even thought it was going to be.
That's exactly my thought. I think I finished Antarctica. We had these shipping containers that they were keeping us in where we changed. And when I got back there, I could barely change clothes. I was so sore. I was so cold. And I kept thinking, I have to run a marathon tomorrow and I have to run 6 more. And that was the hardest thing I've ever done. And everything hurts. I can't move. I can't even bend over to take my clothes off or take my shoes off. I'm stuck.
And she did tell me, she texted me after, said, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. And then I was like, but you always stayed positive. So I always wondered, like, in your brain, if you were like, oh no, because she seemed pretty positive after every race, every text message I got.
Because after the race, it's easier to be positive.
Right.
Yeah.
In it, that dark place comes, and it's real dark.
It was real dark, and it was oh no for about an hour after Antarctica. By the time we were back on that plane, the adrenaline had hit, and all I could say was, that was so epic. I'm so glad I did that. It's why I journaled. I wanted to remember that I went to that dark place before I
Oh, that was brilliant.
Yeah.
That's
switched my
it is amazing what
mindset.
the brain will do.
And what is next for you?
That's a good question. People keep asking that. I really want to take some time to sit with this, and
I thought you just said sit, which I'm fine with.
You can sit for a decade if you want.
You can sit for as long as you want. So sit with this. Okay, got it.
I wanted to sit with this. It was such an incredible experience. I am running Boston to Big Sur in
And
April.
we're trying to get her a London bib. So
Working on getting London, because London is in between Boston andIg Sur.
So
and
if
she's
people-
already trained for it. So I'm like, why wouldn't we try to do it again? You know?
So tell people what that means. So Boston is in April.
So Boston is in April on that Monday. Typically, Big Sur then is out in California marathon that next weekend. This year, there are 13 days in between.
that's plenty of time. I mean, that's like you don't
Right?
know what to do with yourself, but 13 days in between. You've had 13 hours.
Exactly. And now that I know that London is that weekend in between, I'm trying to see if I can get myself to London.
And
We're working on it.
so we're talking, let's see, this was February. We're talking 2 months from now? Or is it
It's 2 months. Boston was 2 months from last Thursday, I think.
Yeah, last Thursday.
So
2
yeah,
months.
but so you're talking 2023, not 2020.
No, 2020.
Okay. You're talking about doing it right now.
I'm trained for it. I might as well
Yeah.
keep going. After that, I'm done with marathons.
Yes.
I'm going to let Maria train me for some 5Ks.
Yes, we gotta go fast. We gotta go fast on a 5K. I love that.
Well, and KellyAnn, you are fast. You
Yeah.
are very fast, and so I think that obviously, if you want to train for a 5K, I'll be watching you with with cartoons with the little dirt that's behind the fast people. That's what I'll be seeing behind you in 5Ks. But I cannot tell you how impressed I am. I know that it's important to you to raise the money, but it was important to you to train for 2.5 years. And Maria was working with you, and just know you had a lot of people cheering you on from many, many miles away.
Yeah, and I just want to thank everyone who was there cheering me on, because it really kept me going. All the messages, I read every single one of them that came through.
It was so fun to watch. I'm like sad that it's over.
Who are you going to train up next time?
I'm probably it's probably a lifetime thing for me to train somebody like that, to do that, because
as a coach.
Yeah, as a coach, it doesn't.
Because I think they've only been doing it since like 2012.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an elite group of people. The people who've been able to do this.
Yeah, I probably won't unless she does it again.
I would definitely do it.
I remember. I actually, she came to me from Brian Fulham. He was working on something. Did you have plantar fasciitis or something?
No, I always had random running injuries.
Yeah, random running injuries. But she stayed really healthy through this whole time. But I remember Brian texted me, said, "Hey, I sent somebody to you. She's doing 7 continents, 7 marathons in 7 days on 7." And I'm like, okay. All right, let's do this. So I had to do like all this research because I've never trained anybody for anything like that. I mean, I've done ultras and stuff, but it was super fun. It was very fun.
And there were people who'd done it multiple times.
1/6 of the group was back for at least a second time. There were a few who'd done it 3 times.
And,
wow.
And then there was an older gentleman. I've seen him featured before. So
he was 80.
80. He did the full marathons. He was absolutely incredible. He cheered every single one of us on. He knew us by name by the end. And it was
Where was he from?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. There's nothing else to do in Oklahoma.
Where the wind comes sweeping across the plains. All right. Well, KellyAnn, we appreciate it very much. I'm going to get to tell your story on WFLA.com. And WFLA do a TV story with you later this week. So thank you for telling us all about it. I've been just so fascinated. I'm so proud of you. So excited to even know someone who does
I know.
this.
It's so cool, right?
Because I tell people that I know someone who does it, and I feel like
yeah,
I know someone who has done this. So thank you very much, and we will look forward to next week when we'll hear from Nick on how his first 5K went, and then he'll just be moving on to the World Marathon Challenge.
I can't wait to hear about his 5K. Yeah. So I'm excited
that was
for
funny
him.
you said that.
All right, thank you guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.